There's a whole pasture full of weird cows. Weird horns, weird horns, weird horns. You see that right over there? Same with that one. Hey everyone, Mike here, Rusty Garage and Homestead. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, howdy and welcome. If you're old here, howdy and welcome. So I legitimately enjoy owning cattle. Families had them before I was born. We've always had cattle. It's just something we've always had here on the farm. That's the #1 animal that we keep. And most of the time, you really don't have any issues with them. You feed them, water them, then you get baby calves. But occasionally, you get one that likes to become a little bit of a nuisance or a pain. A lot of times, those ones end up going to the sale pretty quick. So we've had issues with bulls over the last couple of years. Last year we lost our bull, our main bull, because he got hung up in a barbed wire fence and hurt himself bad enough that he had to be put down. And our new bull has been okay for the most part, but recently he has decided that he enjoys spending time with the neighbor cows more than his own girlfriends. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so there's our pasture. Here's a cemetery. Here's the other pasture, neighbor pasture. Here's what the bull decided to do the other day. He decided that this gate was in his way and stopping him to visiting his new friends over here. So he jumped on it and crushed the gate down. So I can see why the bull likes being over here. All these girls are friendly. And some crazy horns. You see that right over there? That's crazy. Same with that one. And there's a few more over here. Weird horns, weird horns, weird horns. There's a whole pasture full of weird cows over here. I'm just kidding. They're just a different breed. I prefer limousine. That's what we've grew up with most of the time. We've had other variations of cattle from Gelbvieh, Angus, some Jersey, beef masters, just different things throughout the years. But limousine's normally our go-to. So today, luckily, we actually keep a spare gate in the garage because of just things like this tend to happen sometimes. So let's go get Tiny and let's get the new gate and let's get this gate replaced. Okay, so here's the gate, sticking over here back against the wall. Been here a minute. Anyways, I'll get this out and we'll get it hooked up to the tractor and go replace this thing. So all I gotta do now is pull these off because these aren't needed. These hinge points are actually welded into the pipe down there on that gate on the cemetery, so we don't need it. But we'll need a 9/16 wrench to be able to move this one up and down to get it set. So let's do that and then we'll load this thing up. Now these gates aren't really anything special. They are a Ranch Pro brand. This is what they sell at Atwood's. That's what's local to me. They're a pretty lightweight gate. It doesn't take much for a 1,500 pound, 2,000 pound animal to bend them or break them. Okay, we have a 60-inch bucket and a 12-foot gate. The optimal way to carry this gate with the tractor would be to have some pallet forks. I'm too cheap and poor to go buy any pallet forks right now. I've been on the search on Marketplace trying to find some decent cheap ones, but I haven't found any yet. What we can do, remember those bucket hooks that we installed here a while back on this tractor? We can use the same bucket hooks with a few chains, hook this gate to the bucket, and we're golden. Y'all leave some comments for some ideas though. I've been looking. I need to come up with a better solution for hanging my chains on the tractor to be able to carry some. I don't like hanging them on the loader mast like this just because I'm going to end up scratching everything. I need to come up with like a PVC tube or something, but there isn't a great place to mount anything like that on here. So I'll get something figured out to do a little better job of storing my chains, because I do think you need to carry a couple chains with you on your tractor wherever you go. So hooking up the chains, or the gate, to it should be fairly simple. I keep these, I made a bunch of these little 4-foot chains years ago. They're 1/4-inch chain, real handy for different things. But all we're gonna do is hook to the bucket hook. And hook it back into itself. Okay, that's gonna carry that thing just fine. All we need to come up with now is a 9/16 and we're good as gold. Okay, we got the new gate down here. Let's get the old gate taken off, toss it over to the side, and then we'll get the new gate hooked up. This probably would be a little easier if I had my gate jacks, but I'm not going to use them today. I normally just use those for a lot heavier gates. These are fairly light, so I should be able to just manhandle it around and get it hung up here. And if you're wondering what the baling wire is for, we had a steer at one time that was real bad about running his head through the gate, and he figured out if he picked his head up, the whole gate would come off the hinge. So he'd come through, pick the gate up, and take off through the pasture with the gate around his head. So the baling wire just helps keep it on the hinges. Normally you would have your hinges opposing each other, top and bottom, so that couldn't happen, but most of the time we always just leave the hinges upright just so we can hang the gate on it real easy. Come on, back up, back up. I've got the bottom hung. Now I need to loosen this top. We're gonna have to pick up on the gate and slide this down at the same time and tighten it back up. Okay, this 12-foot gate's just a little long for me to try to pick up and get this thing hooked, so I'm gonna go ahead and take a chain to the other side of the gate and use a loader and just pick up on it just a little bit. Okay, looks like that's gonna do it. Really need a hammer on this tractor. Okay, that's in line, so let's go ahead and get this tightened back up. Okay, good enough. Okay, well, the gate is hung. The rain will definitely wash it off. Now these latches that come on these gates, you run the chain through that hole, pull it tight, and hook it back up into that loop, and that's latched. But if you've got cows that start getting a little smart, they'll come up here and flick this up with their tongue and get it off of there, and then they'll just push it right open. So a lot of times we have these little carabiners here that we open up and hook the end of the loop to that so they can't ever lick it up off of there. I'm gonna go ahead and get the wire hooked up on these hinges here because it is a real big pain when a calf or cow decides to stick their head through the gate and take off through the pasture with it over their head. New gate is installed. Old one's hooked up to the bucket. Okay, that is just one of the many uses for bucket hooks on your bucket. That is probably one of the best upgrades that you can do to your tractor bucket, is add hooks to them. If I had pallet forks, I would have used those instead, just because you can toss a gate right on them and carry it around wherever you want. But if you don't have any, these little things are really, really handy. For this gate casualty, that is just part of the perks, I guess, if you want to call it that, of owning cattle. Sometimes they are a real pain. For the most part, I've quit using these lighter weight gates. I started using the big heavy metal ones that you have to weld on, just because it seems no matter how hard they run into those, they don't bend. And they usually only run into them once or twice before they figure out that they're not going nowhere, and they probably give them a little bit of a headache. So I do just want to take a second, thank all the new subscribers that have came to the channel. Thanks for watching the videos. Hope you're enjoying them. So drop a comment down below. I've been looking at my demographics a lot here recently, and I've got viewers from all over the world. Let me know what country you're from. I kind of find it interesting, kind of neat. People all around the world tuning in and watching this channel for different content. And leave a comment if you've had anything like this happen before, where your cows have become a little bit of a pain, or goats. I know goats can sometimes be a bit of a pain getting through fences and different things like that. Let me know if you've ran into something like this before, or when I was talking about the steer with the gate around its head, that's happened a couple times. It's a real big pain. Not as bad when they can get the gate off themselves, but if it gets hung up on their head and you've got to try to catch them, it it would make for good video content. So if that ever happens again, I will try to video it. Thank you everyone for being here and tuning into the channel. It really means a lot to me and my family. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give the video a thumbs up, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.